All right. So tomorrow's the end of the quarter, so we'll see where we close. So far, we're inverting this. All right. We'll refer back to these later. Pretty far away from all of this, but yeah. Yeah, last week was a really big week. Um, Never took out all those lows. Sure, we'll come back to those some point. We basically got relative equal highs, so we'll make sure those are on there. Yeah, big sweep of like a, reverse head and shoulders type of a thing. A measured move just for fun. It's going to be met already. So basically met. But yeah, we've just been displacing higher. It's a nice gap here. And then a daily. Just going to mark that. And then we took out this swing high. So I'm just going to refer back to that. In case we resoup it, we have a daily inefficiency here that we have not hit yet. And then smooth highs after that. Yeah, we're taking out a big pool of liquidity, displacing. We'll see where we end up later. Big pool of liquidity down here, so just gonna mark that out again. Big inefficiency here down here on the daily. Those are kind of our two inefficiency areas, which this will, on a higher time frame, could definitely be areas we could pull back to because of the pool of liquidity we have there. Inverse liquidity there. I'm gonna make this thicker. All right. Four-hour. Yeah, we got that big move down that I fucked up. This was rebalanced really nicely. Basically some relative equal high lows there. Not really interested in anything else other than maybe this high that we're approaching. And this is all inefficient all the way up into there, so I think this will be, we could come up, make the high right here, pull back, and then continue later. Yeah, really big week, lots of just straight up moves. We came in, souped that, but seems like this could still be a level to retest eventually if we ever get something. Yeah, this is a nice little level here. And then, yeah, that's just the PM low. It's only 1%. We've been moving 1% pretty easily lately. So I think this will probably get tested again. So far, it's just just the highs and the lows, and we'll have to do an analysis later. ES is at all-time highs. It's displacing on monthlies. Lots of just old stuff that we can get rid of now. Yeah, we're at all-time highs. Still an inefficiency down here. We got that inversion going on there, or the double inversion thing. Nice big soup up into the highs. Classic weekly buy, manipulate, and then big distribution. On the daily, we have displaced above the all-time high now officially. So definitely gonna look for a long still. Oops. Two dailies. So yeah, daily so far displacing higher. This will be the area to look for a nice buy again. Going back to the daily. No real levels anywhere nearby that are clear. 4 hour. There's this small, decent pool of liquidity there. Same thing with that one. And then that's basically it. We formed the daily inefficiency there. And mixed into that, we had a 4 hour that got tested into and respected. And yeah, very similar to Dow Jones. Big move down, no no displacement. 30-minute barely got one. 15-minute barely got one. So we'll see, but just yeah, similar situation, just looking for the range highs and lows. So we'll see what happens when we do comparative analysis. Alright. Try to be smart there. So yeah, 3 month chart, we did not come down into this inefficiency, which is kind of weird. Yeah, new all-time highs. Monthly. It'll be interesting to see if this monthly displaces. Yeah, same inversion area there. Weekly. Still got a gap there too. I'm gonna put this down to this. Relative equal high soup. Classic weekly buy, same thing. Alright, and then the daily fair value gap there, and then we have a new one. Big pool of liquidity down here. Similar pools like ES. This 4 hour held nicely, and then now we have the daily there. So the CE of this daily looks really clean, honestly. So that'll be nice. Same thing with down here, and then same thing with maybe the 0.25%, but we do have inefficiencies all the way up. So this could still be a nice 4 hour level later. Yeah, same thing came down here on the 4 hour as ES. Kind of made some relative equal lows here. So it seems like that could be a nice draw on liquidity if we get another short. We did have a market structure shift here on the 1 hour on NASDAQ. 15-minute clearly shifting below. So yeah, could make a strong argument that this might come back down again. Just off the structure. Relative equal lows below it. Now is a good time to check weekend Wall Street. Alright. Barely up on the week. Oh wait. Alright, weekend Wall Street. Yeah, we're just barely up. Nothing significant. Little gap up. Yeah, I mean yeah, that could be possible short, but looks like there's a lot of divergences here. So oops. Oh, did I look if this was displacing? Oh yeah, daily clearly displaced here too. But oh, and we displaced above this high too. So Nasdaq's looking really strong on the higher time frame. But it would make sense for them to rebalance this because that would just make it confusing. Because then there's no displacement and it makes it harder to figure out like what's the direction when there's no displacement higher. So yeah, 15-minute looks pretty solid, but we'll see. And then one interesting thing will be Russell. Yeah, got really messed up with these futures. Stupid charts, dude. So yeah, still got that relative equal high look, but now it's on the futures chart since it got all messed up. Uh, uh, monthly, nothing. All right, weekly. It's a nice pool of liquidity down here. We just swept relative equal highs. We still have this weekly inefficiency here. So yeah, we got everything already still drawn out. And this was a big pool of liquidity here. So for this to soup this, still like could easily, to me, like this could be a much higher time frame move still possible. Um, below these lows or something. And this is like a big soup level. So, but you would think it could come up into here though. So we'll see. It's set relative equal highs here. So we'll see about that. And there's no displacement on the daily. The only displacements were back in here above this high. That kind of delivered, and then now we're just kind of grinding higher. And then yeah, so got a lot of liquidity areas down there. Kind of messy look into it. Yeah, we came back and rebalanced this 4 hour, making it look pretty weak. But I mean, it did bounce there. But we do have wait, yeah, we just have a big pool of liquidity, I think, below this low. We've got all these levels down there. So to me, it looks pretty clean to come and soup back into this range. We'll see if we get it. Small gap down here. I'm gonna make it darker because it's pretty hard to see. There we go. Yeah, we got the move lower on that. We made new relative equal highs, though we did actually take the high. So don't know if it will need to come up there again. I mean, yeah, could easily come and soup that up, take out that, and then reverse. We'll see what happens. Um, yeah, this is a nice low. 1 hour did market structure shift here. So there's a nice 1 hour inefficiency. This already got disrespected. But, and we kind of have relative equal lows here now. So yeah, this could be still bounce and then again lower, we'll see. Yeah, 1 hour, nice market structure shift. We had relative equal lows, swept all that out. And then we sort of made new ones, smooth lows. So you could say we're going to come back down into this order block, possibly, for a fair value gobble long. Yeah. Um, yeah. We did displace back up. We displaced below this low, went pretty low. So, um, we should have looked at everything else. So yeah, the Russell gave the clear look for the short. And we do have the same inefficiency here, which may still be the short lower. We just got that similar. I mean, we had this, and then we kind of souped that. So I'm thinking we could still come down into here. We went super deep, so it just seems like we might eventually still come lower. So and it did displace below that. I didn't look at that. So, interesting. So yeah, Russell's got this daily is going to be really nice. This high though could still be souped up into to mark another short. So we'll see what happens. Um, the flows were very bearish into the end of the day, and didn't really recover. They actually, I mean, calls came up, but the price came way up. So to me, that's, and the calls were still negative in SPY. They climbed up and then sold off. They climbed up again. And Q's was really bearish too to the close. Q's. Q's holdings were also clearly bearish. So yeah, I kind of like the continuation short so far. VIX futures were green, short-term ones. Yeah, NQ all-time high. Let's look at these guys. So yeah, SPY is at all-time highs, failing to displace higher. That's a huge difference. Let's even look at the daily. Yeah, SPY barely closed above the all-time high. Qs did displace. Dow Jones looking the strongest short term. And then they very clear short. And here's the high that here's the high that we got the SMT. Interesting. This is an old inefficiency. Guess we're referring back to it maybe. But yeah, Dow Jones still hasn't taken out that high. And yeah, now we're getting a short. So it seems like the real delivery for this would actually be back at these lows. So on Russell, unless Dow Jones is suddenly going to get really weak and create some sort of SMT. Interesting. When it comes to the Dow versus Russell on the futures charts, we have already taken out that high on the Dow. So there's that. But this is where we had a lot of old SMT. This high, Russell got really weak here. So it seems like we're working off of these charts for now. If Dow Jones takes this out, though, that's going to change things. So let's see. This should at least come down to 50% of this range. So here there was a Dow Jones SMT, but then we ended up coming back to take it out. So yeah, I do like the weakness here on SPY. Um, Nasdaq is still displacing higher, and Dow Jones looks like it is kind of gunning for that high, but it's back into that old inefficiency, which it is rejecting. And I mean, everything is rejecting that. And things have changed. This is the exact same SMT that worked last time. So ES came and took out the high. Which is different. That's not, it's confusing. Okay, maybe I need to go back and research what happened down here, because I feel like the contract's really messed up. Yeah, let's look real quick. Maybe in the weekly. So let's do the monthly. Wow, so this pinpoint nailed. The low here was 832. What, dude? That's totally different than what it was before. That's why, yeah, that's why the first two quarters were tough. All right, so we did hit 50% on ES, which is a change in character. If this didn't hit it. It is. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Dude, that that pisses me off. Alright. Should have freaking knew this. Oops, didn't realize that. And then there we go. NASDAQ changing character there. So YM took, let's delete this. So yeah, YM, so we made a new high here. We had like a weird manipulation at the highs where Dow Jones came up. Dow Jones came up, made a new all-time high. We all were making all-time highs, but then we got really weak out of nowhere. Made some SMT that worked, big shorts working, and then we came all the way back up after YM being really weak. And on this day, we were really green, whereas we were really weak on NASDAQ. But anyways, yeah, this was the kind of the high short. Then we came back up, took out the relative equal highs, sat in the gap, made SMT at the all-time highs again. Dow Jones made a new high. ES made a new high. NASDAQ failed. And NASDAQ had been stronger the whole time. So we get the big reversal. NASDAQ doesn't hit 50%. These guys do. Boom, that's the change in character. Boom, we get the long. NASDAQ stronger. Uh, NASDAQ stronger. It's delivering it's uh it's delivering its strength. So what you want to see is some SMT again. We've already taken the highs, and ES did too. So we shouldn't be looking for the macro reversal. But last time we came up here, Dow Jones um, well, first of all, Dow Jones has a nice pool of liquidity up here. What about on this? Same thing on here. But yeah, anyways, Nasdaq's being a lot stronger. That makes sense. It's delivering that change in character of the strength. So what we'd want to see is either and this was just a pullback. This wasn't like a higher time frame reversal. What's gonna give the higher time frame reversal is Russell taking these highs out, I think, without these guys, or at least the Dow. So there's no macro reversal to be looked for. It's still higher time frame longs, but then at the same time, obviously, there's going to be shorts. So I think they're still short, and I think that's going to be the next big short, like we got with Trump. But either way, yeah, we do look like we may still have a nice little short in play here with Russell. And now let's look at all of them together. And then we're going to need this guy too. So yeah, this is the high in play, still in play. And for Russell, it's still in play here too. So honestly, I think we would need to see these levels. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So yeah, Russell came lower, and that's just been what's working. But then we got a huge change in character here. Huh. So interesting. So yeah, we kind of marked the bottom here, but Russell was manipulating lower. But then we had a weird change in character internally, not at the low, but internally, right after. And so what happened was Russell delivered higher here, but it also did that at this high. So it did this here at this high, and then we got a short, but then we came up on the Dow, took the high out, and then that's what gave the real short. So what might happen here is, yeah, we're getting a short, and then Dow Jones comes and takes the high while Russell is weak, and then we get another big short, maybe back down into these relative equal lows down here. There's a lot of old stuff. That would make sense because that's exactly what's happening. It's like one makes a, a manipulation, or sorry, a divergence, and then the other one right on top of that did that, and then that's exactly the inverse of that happened here. We got the short down here, and Russell went way lower. We came higher, triggered another short here into this inefficiency. Nope, didn't even tap it. Fell short of the inefficiency there, but then there was a big manipulation and there was still a short. So I think that we could even and that's not keeping in mind what's happening in the futures charts. So which is what makes it confusing. Um, but yeah, this seems like with what's happening, this still seems like the same thing. Especially since we still haven't taken this high out. We shifted lower, and now Dow Jones is going to come take the high again. So I think this is the high for now, and we still may get shorts. And this might just be the short here as soon as we come up into the order block. This is the order block on the hourly. That's the order block. But 4 hour, uh, whatever. Yeah, we'll see. We've souped both sides of these typical lows. So who knows when we'll get it, but yeah, Dow Jones taking out this high though would sort of line up still with the short in these guys. So Nasdaq was really strong. ES coming out of the gates, we get the divergence there. I saw this yesterday and still didn't short it. Wasn't sure about it. And then I wonder if there was S&T here with ES. This is the high here. Okay, so there was S&T until lunch, which that's stupid. Um, but yeah, I mean, we had this here. That was the play. So yeah, Dow Jones, another Dow Jones SMT. We come back up into the order block. Could still very well be a short on Russell. 2 p.m. session lows. It's funny. But anyways, okay, what about what we came down to? So we came down, we didn't take out the low on Russell, or on the Dow, but everybody else did. So that's kind of the inverse that we've been getting. But yeah, I mean, structurally, it's just like smooth lows. We took out all the smooth lows, made it equal low, made it inefficiency. ES came down. Did it take out the lunch low? No. Neither did NASDAQ. So there was no change in character here at the high. The SMT was with ES. So I think this move might not be over, especially on NASDAQ, unless actually. Let's look here. On the 1 minute into the PM. There was a lower low, but I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's a relevant time frame. I think that, yeah, I think this is still in play. I think this might still be a short right into here, right into this order block. And same thing here. Yeah, this might literally be a short right at the open, down into the lows, risking the order block. since this can still come up. If Dow comes up here, it's this inefficiency, then it's like, okay, that might be the trigger. Since it's not reversed yet, it needs a POI, higher time frame alignment. Here's the higher time frame alignment. So, yeah, that might be the short right there. So yeah, I like it the short. Otherwise, I either wait till we come down here or look for the morning range to develop. So yeah, that's basically the plan. Checklist. Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's nothing really else to do. We've displaced, but the high is kind of where things come in. You know what? Maybe we're going to get another SMT, but of the either this high or that high. And yeah, I'd wait for this. I think this high is the real trigger. So I'm gonna wait for this high, and there might be a short right at the Sunday open. Nice, cool. Other than that, that's kind of the plan for the weekly candle. It's like can't really predict it, but it's seeming like we need to go up and then we need to go back down and then reevaluate. But we also need to see what happens to this chart during the day. So yeah, all eyes on. I'm gonna move this. Yep, that's the summary. All right, audio.